Oh, there it is.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 51st episode of The Get Down. My name is Cream.
Gary W. here.
And we have the first of a few guests today with us. Introduce yourself, Mr.
What's going on? I go by Mr. ToneSetta. That's ToneSetta, but please call me Gage. But
no, none of us call you Gage.
None of us call you Gage.
You know what? And that's the crazy part too, because when I first started DJing and then kind of like adopting, my DJ alias, I'm just getting addressed now by like my DJ name. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like people are just calling me Tone now for short. Yeah. I'm like, I'm with it.
So
I always gotta quick. I always gotta like check myself, like, and remember that your name is Gage and it's not like Antonio or something like this. Yeah, great.
That's hilarious. No, this is all right. So we're doing our episode where we talked about for the 50th. It's now the 51st, but we're gonna make it happen right now. So ToneSetta is one of the first Get Down DJs we're gonna have on today. We actually just finished up a like hour-long team call, super productive, high morale coming out of there, a lot of good ideas. So, we're recording directly after that. So
it's nonstop.
It really is nonstop. I mean, and thinking back, like you were kind of there from the very beginning, right? Of where this whole thing started to come together.
From when it was a seed. Big old tree, man. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, like we started out and there was like 10 or 12 of us in a restaurant or like one of the venues we were booking at, and just kind of like, hey man, like, so what do you do? Like, what kind of music do you like? Like it was hilarious.
True icebreaker fashion,
Yeah, actually that one of the things that I remember distinctly about that is the fact that really not a lot of us knew each other. So we did get in a circle introduced. I think it was Tone. I think this was your suggestion. And we sat in a circle and we kind of introduced ourselves and stuff like that, which was kind of funny because we were, and I've said this on previous podcasts, but like we were booking you guys out for like probably a month or two prior to that. And then finally it was like, all right, well, we got to meet everybody if we're going to book these guys out regularly.
Yeah.
And I believe at that like little meetup there was the first time that I think that I met you. I don't remember. See, Cream and I talk about this all the time where we're like, how did that person get involved in Get Down? Like where did he come from? Where did he hear about it? Where did we hear about him? So on and so forth. So can you take us back maybe and kind of re-jog our memory on that one?
All right. So,
I have no idea, by the way. So this is going to
be prior.
I know you don't.
I always like telling this story because it's like it's one of those things that you kind of never really forget. You always look back on it, and it's always just like, all right, well, look at how far I've come from what it was then till now. So like it's always a good like a reflection point where it's just like if you ever feel, before I go off on a tangent, if you ever feel like stuck, or just like, man, reflect, like look at where I was before, and then now look how much I've progressed now. It's always a good reflecting point to always like have in the back of your mind. So to kind of go into the story of like, how I got involved was, me being like a foot soldier and like handing out mixes to like random bars and places and just trying to get like my foot in the ground. And there was never really a thought in place in my mind where I was like, well, like, what about like a DJ group or something like that? Because thinking of it outside of yourself and that selflessness of wanting to work with people, your cohorts, you're all fellow entrepreneurs, you all have the same end goals. I was never really thinking of it at that point in time because I'm still a newbie. I'm trying to break out, trying to make a name for myself. So I'm always thinking that, okay, it seems to be that it's like kind of every man out for himself type thing. So I didn't know about the camaraderie that can come with it. If that's, those are what your goals are and that's what, that's how you move. But I was just a foot soldier and I was making, mixes and putting them on CDs, burning them, and then driving around to places, whether it was in Hoboken on Washington Ave or like Clifton, Cliffside, different bars or places. Hey, is a manager here, and then just dropping things off and then trying to get leads and stuff. So kind of fast forward throughout that process, I had met Cream. This is before I had met you, Gary. You were kind of like the guy in the shadows. Like you were kind of like, who's that guy from NERD who was never really known? Was it Chad? Pharrell was always the face guy of NERD. It was Chad. It was another guy, not Chad, because Chad he was on the keys. There was one more dude. I forget his name in NERD, but he was always the guy that was like the anonymous guy. Nobody knew who he was. Like
that's still me to this day.
Yeah. So it was kind of like the mysterious guy in the shadows. So still in college at this point, and hanging out with some friends, and Washington Street in Hoboken is that's a street completely filled with bars. So we would go out there, we'd bar hop, and then, time after time, it might have been on a Thursday because, Tally Ho is probably still the only bar that does like half off drinks and drink specials, which was just like, you're a college kid, you want to go out, you don't want to break the bank, but you still want to have a good time. So we'd go out there and I would see Cream there, and, Thursday after Thursday, I'd pop up and I'm like, yo, this guy's always here on Thursdays. Let me introduce myself, talk to him. So that was pretty much like that first ice-breaking point where I kind of, decided to get out of my shell. And I was like, you know what, if I'm going to get into this game, I have to get to know the people that are in it, as well. And networking is just a gigantic key. And that's something that you can never undervalue. You always have to take that into consideration. You can never really do it alone. The saying is super true. You have to get in the mix with the people that are doing it and that have been doing it, So chopped it up with Cream. And at some point it was just like, what? It's like, I'm having a meeting, we're getting on a text message. It's like, we're going to try to get everybody together that has been working with us, at different venues in Hoboken. It's like, you should come out. I was like, yeah, sure. Meanwhile, like I'm at work, I'm like, all right, well, I got to straight, like bust my ass, like right after work, just fly down to Sinatra Drive, which is where we were having our meeting at the Ainsworth. And so I pull up, polo on, just like right out of work, all sweaty. I was like, F it. It's like, I'm going to put it all out there, and I'm going to meet these people that I've been doing, gigs with, but haven't really met in person. And so that was when I had first met you. We put Gary put a name to a face.
Right.
And there was a few people there that I had kind of known that, aren't with us as much now, but at that point it was like, I know you from somewhere, and vice versa. I was like, oh, didn't you do like my holiday party or something like that? And that was actually a second time that I bumped into, I think it was Danny Deluxe. Danny Deluxe had DJ'd a holiday party for my company that I was working for at the time. And then we kind of just like rekindled that. And then, it was pretty much just a round robin at that point. We all just kind of introduced each other. And that was when the first official meeting of Get Down DJs came to fruition. And,
it's funny. You said a lot of things that like resonate with me, right? The first thing you said was just kind of reflecting back, right? So think about, even if you think you're not where you want to be yet, none of us are, right? We all have these like self-doubt and things that creep into our mind about like our careers and where we're at, and we should be further along. Think about where you were a year ago, and then think about where you were 3 years ago, and you're like, holy shit, I did kind of come a pretty far way. And like, whether it's the number of gigs or the places or how much money you're making or whatever it is. So I love that. And then like all the stuff that made you successful. Like you just said all of it, right? Yeah. You were out like hustling, grinding, passing out CDs. When was the last, like, all right, CDs aren't our thing anymore, but like how many DJs right now are going out, introducing themselves to managers at bars they want to work with? Not a lot.
Yeah.
Like it's simple shit, but you just have to do it, like,
right.
And then networking, like those are like huge things that, yeah, of course you're going to grow if you're doing those things,
Yep.
And you have the skills to back it up.
I think timing in your story timing is a huge story in everybody's, is a huge aspect of being successful in everybody's story, right? Like if you don't have good timing, like things just don't really work out correctly.
Right.
And you were up and coming, and so was our DJ group, right? We were just starting out. So, us crossing paths at that same time really was mutually beneficial. And then another thing that you said that like, you went to Tally Ho and you met Cream over at Tally Ho. It's so funny how things don't change this many years later. I feel like Thursday nights at Tally Ho is still a breeding ground for up and coming DJs. If you want to network and you want to meet a lot of industry people that are from the North Jersey area, you go to Tally Ho on a Thursday night. And then also you have half price drinks. So you can't go wrong on that side of things too.
That's where they got me. You know, it's like round on me. Like I got it. It's half off. So that's like it's all good. But yeah.
I think one thing that always impresses me about ToneSetta, I would say you're probably our most versatile DJ in the fact that like we've played after hour sets together, we've played open format sets together. Like you can go rock a Latin party, you can rock a hip hop party, you can rock like a Afrobeat party. So like I always appreciate that part of you, that any party, any room, you can go and do a really good job. And I think all of our guys are versatile, but I think to me, you're the most versatile of anybody on the team. Gary, what do you think about that?
I appreciate that.
I mean, it's funny because a lot of the stuff that Tone's into, I'm also into, but don't probably not in my older age. I don't play that stuff out as much. And I reflected on this when I think we did the boat party together with, what was it, Sander?
Yeah.
Who was that? It was Sander's boat party, and we had opened one of the floors, or we had our own floor, whatever it might have been. And you were playing a lot of the records that I wanted to play. And I was like, oh, like we really, and not just in that realm of house music, but also with Afrobeat and things like that. Like we share a lot of the same interests in the back wall stuff that we're into. Yeah. And I feel like I've gotten away from playing that live, and you're really good at mixing it into your sets currently. And I feel like that's something to do with, you know, hunger and drive and wanting to be different from the next guy. And you do a really good job with that.
Thank you, fellas. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was a great event to kind of like get, you know, thrown into the mix, because that floor, that bottom part of the boat, because it rained out the top, that became the whole party.
The main floor.
It became the main floor, to the point where I was just like, they're really taking apart all the speakers, that whole sound system that's on the top of this boat right now, and bringing it downstairs.
Yeah, Gary was DJing and was like, Sander was just standing right next to him, like, oh, I guess this is how we're doing this now.
In the blink of an eye, Gary became direct support.
Yeah.
You know, it sucked too that day, because I had loaded up sticks, and not even like, if I knew I was going to be direct support, like it would have been a completely different, you know, set of folders. But anyway, not to get off on a tangent here. So I think it's interesting. Something that you said earlier is that like, oh, you didn't know, like getting into a DJ group, if that was the way to go, and if that's how you're going to get booked more, if that was the right way to grow the ToneSetta brand. But now that you are in it, and you've been in Get Down DJ group since almost day one, you know, like what aspects of the being in a group that, you know, what aspects do you love? And then like, and why, you know, why do you think being in a group is so beneficial?
You know, especially as a newcomer, and anything that you want to do in life, whether you're a corporate guy, or, you know, you're an entrepreneur, you have to get involved in business with people that you either see yourself becoming, or that you want to surround yourself with. So if you see somebody that's doing something successful, you know, you want to follow those certain footsteps. And then at some point, you know, you want to be able to take those footsteps and then kind of just take it in your own way, and then, you know, grow yourself as an entrepreneur. So, you know, getting into the DJ business, I've always wanted to be able to play rooms. I was like, you know what, you know, who do I have to talk to get a slot in these different venues? Because, you know, I feel like I'm ready to kind of take that next step. And, you know, it's a little bit more beneficial or easier, I should say, to find yourself in those certain situations when you're in the room with people that are already there. So it's that barrier, or that connection, that third wall, I guess you could say, is already broken. Because if I'm having a conversation with somebody that's already playing this room, and there's an owner there, and then I'm in that same room, they're more likely to probably want to book me, or, you know, build relationships with me, because of a certain level of trust that this person has and is bringing me into it. So I guess you could kind of say almost like grandfathered in, but that's how it kind of works, is that you have to be able to break those barriers with people that are already doing it. And it just makes it a lot more simpler. Now, not to say that you shouldn't shy away from, you know, exploring your own ventures, because at the end of the day, if you ever want to have your own residencies in different venues, you have to still have that lone wolf grind to want to be out, you know, be able to go out there and, talk to a completely different venue or manager or ownership where you want to try to, start your own party. So you have to have, both mentalities, right? So I remember one time we were having a conversation, we were talking about, you gotta have DJ brain, you gotta have business brain. So there's different levels of thinking that you gotta always be able to, switch on and off at different points in, your entrepreneurship or your career. So the benefits of, running with a crew is that you have people that are already playing in different places, and then having that access to different rooms and different venues is, a little easier. So that way you're kind of moving in, and then you have that first step in the door of already building a relationship with these people that you want to continue to work with later down the road.
Yeah, I mean, there's power in numbers too, right? So
absolutely,
when you're with a group of people that all are kind of thinking about growth and thinking about success, and it's not about egos and stuff, like, listen, we all have egos as DJs, right? But at the end of the day, like, we help each other, and then we all go do our own things too. And sometimes us going to do our own thing then helps the group. So like,
exactly.
Working with hardworking, hungry, go-getter type people that are smart and have a business sense and have can speak a little bit and interact with people, like, it's only going to help grow everybody's business,
Right.
Like, as Get Down grows, everyone's going to grow. Like,
right.
It's like a snowball effect. So it's been really cool to see your progression and from, that first Ainsworth thing to now, like, I don't know, you don't need Get Down, like yes. we work together and we rock rooms together, and you play a bunch of our spots, but like, at the end of the day, you don't need Get Down. But
it always feels good though to still be involved. It's like, I wouldn't necessarily say that you don't need, but it's always a resource that you got to have though. Like, you're always going to have those home base venues that it's just going to feel good to want to come back to play. Right. So like, we've already touched places like Philadelphia, and like, you guys are bouncing around now to South Carolina and like Charleston, but then you just to kind of come back home to those like venues that, that you've kind of like birthed, like Cream, Tally Ho's your baby.
Right. Yeah.
Tally Ho is literally your baby. So like, those Thursday nights, they just feel so right, because like, this is one of those venues that like you've been at for so long that it's literally like it's your child. You take care of that. So you always gotta, want to keep those relationships and nurture that always. So I always, I'm always here and down to rock out with Get Down. You guys are like my family, man. Love it.
Me too. Our team is super tight right now. We're real close. I like it. We've all like created these really strong friendships. So I'm glad you're here, man. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys, man. It's been an amazing ride.
I think we're gonna wrap here. We got a couple other guys jumping on with us, but go check out DJ ToneSetta. All his links will be in the show notes. What's your IG?
IG is at ToneSetta Official, ToneSetta Official. You can find me pretty much across the board everywhere, except for Twitter. I might get back on Twitter. I never really used it when I had it anyway, but Instagram, SoundCloud, Mixcloud, you can find me there.
That's a smart man. The same handle for everything. That's what you need. All right. So DJ ToneSetta, man, appreciate you. Smart guy. You hear him talk, you know why he's growing, guys doing his thing.
And last thing, I guess, just a little quick Easter egg, because we are working on some another edit pack, right?
We are working on another edit pack.
I might have some Easter eggs in there for you guys. Finally, some things that I've been sitting on. I want to throw that in there.
Send them. Let's go. Let's go.
Get into this mashup game.
Love to hear it.
All right, brother. DJ ToneSetta, appreciate you, man. Love you. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys for having me. Take care.
Later. All right, what's up, guys? We're back with our next guest, none other than Angelo the Kid. You've heard him on here a couple times already, but, we got to bring him back. What's up, bro?
What's up, guys? Happy to be on here.
So good to have you back. It's always good to have you around. We
talk to you every day, but we might as well do it on video. Why not?
Yeah, for real. Finally, showing it to the world.
Yeah. So, part of the reason why we do talk to you every day is because you've kind of been with us as, I guess what started as like an internship. and has now kind of become just like somebody that is part of the inner workings of the team, you know, like you're on all the calls where we talk about marketing plans and, you know, Get Down Mashup Pack and Get Down Radio and all the stuff that you guys listen to. Angelo is part of all that stuff behind the scenes. So, how did, like, I know, you know, we talked about this once before, but like, how did you get involved with Get Down and where did we start?
So pretty much, I want to say like the person that our group that really introduced me to you guys was Olive Oil. And I linked, well, first off, I linked with you guys, started the internship September 2019. And I was friends with Olive Oil like a year before that. So they were always, I wasn't even 21 at the time when I first was with them. And they would always bring me around, and they first brought me to the Get Down meetup. And I remember them first telling me about you, like giving people gigs to open up at Birch and stuff. So I was just hanging around, seeing how it was going. And then you offered the internship, which was awesome. And I had one more year of college left. So it just made perfect sense to do it. And I believe when we first started, it was pretty much like I would get college credits and some gigs here and there. And just been kind of always around you guys, learning so much, just being around you guys and using it to the best of my ability, the knowledge I learned from you guys. So
it's so funny that one of the standout memories I have of like initially meeting you for like the first couple times, because back then I was teaching full time, so I wasn't always in the office, and I felt like you were probably in the office a little more than I was. And I would pop in on like Wednesdays or whatever it might have been, because I was like teaching and athletic directing and all this at the same time. But like the one day, like you handed over a mashup that you had done. It was like maybe your first handful ever.
Yeah.
And I still play that shit to this day. And it was like one of your first ones that you ever did. I'm like, Kareem, like this is really stinking good. Like this kid's gonna be and we had the conversation like this kid's got an ear. Like he can just, you know, he just knows what's what. And now like now I just went back into DMP and I went through all of because you guys all send me stuff all the time, right? And it's overwhelming. Like I get a folder and it's too much. So I'll go into DMP, type your name in, and I'll download it off of there.
It's hilarious. Gary doesn't go to the Dropbox link that he gets like 3 months prior. He waits till it's on DMP.
Yes.
DMP makes it so much easier too, because you literally like the fact that you could just like copy all these songs and download all at once makes your life so much easier too with that.
It's easier to listen to and scroll through, right? Like I get the sample and I'm like, it's okay. I'm the same way that I can play.
I'm the same way, honestly. I'm the same way.
I remember Gary and I had talked about trying to find an intern because we were working with our boy Brandon, who was kind of like leading the charge on a lot of the marketing stuff we were doing and all the flyers and photos and video. And we had all these ideas, but we really needed help executing them. So Gary and I were like, all right, the fall semester's coming. We should try and link with a college or a couple colleges in the area and try to find an intern that can help us. And then Olive Oil introduced me to you. We hopped on a phone call and I got off the call and I was like, Gary, I don't think we need to go to the colleges. I think we found our intern, because I had a conversation with Angelo and he kind of gets it. And he's like 20 or whatever. And like, it just clicked right away where I was like, I know this guy is going to fit with what we're trying to do. And then like, there was the Ramapo connection. You and Gary both went to Ramapo. And like, there was just a lot of things right off the bat that just kind of worked, you know?
Yeah, it was awesome. Especially like the earlier days working with you guys, working in the office. Like I was like learning so much just in a short amount of time. Like there is so much I didn't know from when I first turned 21 to when I met you guys. And I like wanted to know, I didn't know how to get there and everything. Like maybe like whether it was like building my own brand or getting people to make graphics. Like it was like such a struggle, you know, build out my Instagram. But then like, just like even being in that office for that little time was like so great, like so helpful.
You came in with like a built-in maturity, I think, like because of your time with the private event group that you worked with, right? And so you were around older DJs for a while.
Yeah. Always.
Right. So it was almost like seamless in the fact that like you just kind of fit in the office. Like we weren't babysitting. We weren't like, this is what you need to do. So you stepped in with maturity, which made things a lot easier on our end. And I feel like that time that you had in private events, and any younger guys that are listening to this, like we say this a lot, like get involved in those private events and get involved in seeing all aspects of this industry, because it can help you in every, like you take a little bit of something from every aspect of the industry to create yourself, right?
Yeah, 1000%. I mean, the private events definitely shaped me to be the person I am today. Like, especially, I'm still doing them, but like, it just, working with those people, those, the older DJs that I was just always around that era, which made me like just more mature at this age,
Right.
and just get a better knowledge of how to act and how to work,
And not only that, like your range of music is crazy due to that, right? And Cream says
yeah,
the same
1000%.
thing. His range is much better for having done private events. So we knew that like when we threw you in a very open format set that, we were pretty safe in doing so.
It was funny when we actually started giving Angelo gigs, it would be like, whatever, like one of the lower tier gigs. Like it would be like a filler spot where somebody canceled. We're like, all right, well, let's give Angelo a shot. He's been like working with us, busting his butt. Like, let's give him a gig. And then like we give him one gig and the manager loved him and wanted him back. We were like, all right, well, if they liked him there, let's try him somewhere else. Manager loved him, was like, we want Angelo back. Gave him another one. Manager loved him. And like, it was just your rise within Get Down was pretty quick because of that, because we always got good feedback on you to the point where like, we put you in like Ashford for the first time and Connor loved you like immediately. And it's easy to book you and put you in better spots when every time the feedback's good,
Yeah. I just like, I felt like at a young, like around that time, I was like, I just want to try like every chance I get, every room I got up. I was, first of all, so happy to play just anywhere. And it was just like, I was like, all right, I'm giving my 100%. I'm doing it. And also like, even before you guys, I was like DMing places. I was doing everything I can to try and get it somewhere. I was like so hungry. So like when I got that chance, I was like so happy. I was like, it was unreal. So I was like, I'm doing everything I can to just make everyone happy.
Yeah. Your networking skills are like top notch, huge. You're really good at that. And I always thought I was really good with that. And then like you and I kind of like tag team stuff. Like we had an idea and we executed. And I was like, wow, everybody we just hit up said yes. Like that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. It just, I feel like with that stuff, it just, as long as you're a good person, like good stuff is going to happen. Yeah. I feel like you don't even have to be the best DJ either. Like as long as you're a good person, you're going to get booked as well. So.
No, I agree with that 100%.
I want to know what you're working on right now. Like what's going on in Angelo the Kid's world? Like what are you doing to grow the brand even more than you have? As we've stated, like your rise has been rapid. And that's even including what, a year off because of COVID, which probably in your case helped, I would assume.
No, 1000%.
So, so like, what are you working on? And if you want to talk about like even how the pandemic kind of helped you out, like that's fine too, if you want to get into that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just feel like with myself, I'm always trying to work on new stuff. I'm always having new goals in my head. Like once I accomplish something, I'm like, okay, what's the next thing that I have to do? Right now, like, honestly, I'm just doing original music, like just doing everything I can. I have a new remix coming out Friday, which I'm really excited about, which was kind of just like something obviously I've been just like working on and, getting done. And it was fun to make. And I was like, okay, I'm really enjoying this. Like actually putting something together and do it on your own is definitely amazing. But it's original music. I'm working on it. I'm trying to work on it every day and just find my sound and do something that fits my brand while keeping up with the social media stuff and TikTok. But yeah, I think the big thing is, and obviously like over the pandemic was like a blessing in disguise for me with TikTok and blowing up on that. I'm able to just kind of leverage, especially with my following, getting bookings and a lot of other good stuff. So yeah, it was great. The TikTok stuff was great. And I really think there's just I think just like setting goals and the big thing for me was just setting goals. And then once I completed those goals, like moving on to the next thing, like how can I become bigger? How can I do something better than where I'm already at? So that's how I don't get bored too. It's awesome. So I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. And just, there's always something new going on.
Yeah. I mean, your biggest challenge right now, like you didn't necessarily have to go through like the 3 to 5 year, like build up period. You grew really quickly. So like, I think your biggest challenge right now is really like adjusting to being a headliner and becoming an artist and traveling as an artist. And like, you know, you sent me some music. We've been working on music together. You sent me the remix. You sent me another track you're working on. Like I played the remix all weekend. It was awesome. It got great feedback. I think it's going to do really, really well when people hear it. So I'm excited for you for that.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's like you almost kind of you were like the first Get Down University student without us even knowing it kind of thing, you know, like
it just happened naturally.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool for us. It makes me happy to see you grow and be successful and do your thing. Love it.
I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at without you guys. So you guys definitely helped me out along the way. It was awesome.
We appreciate that. Proud Pop is out here.
Yeah.
I got you. There was one more thing I wanted to say about just kind of just bookings. So like again, like the whole headliner, like just being a headliner kind of deal. I think locally, and this is how I've been kind of understanding it and really going about it, and you guys can, if you guys want to agree, is pretty much like locally, I just think you have to keep those relationships going. Like I feel like those people that are in booking charge, they're going to notice when something good is going to happen. And I don't think, especially locally, like you don't want to step on anyone's toes or anything. Your opportunity is going to come and you're going to be able to get that opportunity once you get there. And I'm starting to realize that recently, just as far as, you know, people realizing my following and everything. So, and compared to where I was 2 years ago. And I think, you know, the one thing I'm trying to really focus on is getting bookings outside of the state and getting bookings outside of the state, because people are going to come out and see me outside of the state. So that's the most important thing to me, especially with DJing and going along with social media and original music, and like the local bookings.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we've touched on, that, you know, you do want to be loyal to your home base, right? Yeah. Because, you know, more often than not, you're going to be back in your home base wanting to play a gig, obviously, until you become international. And then the home base becomes very blurred lines, right?
Yeah, home base is the United States and not New Jersey.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So
that's huge right there, but we'll see what
happens. But like those are the goals that you shoot for, right? But like in the aspect in which you're speaking, like, yes, you do want to go grab those out of market gigs, but, you know, don't burn bridges at home, because, you know, you can really mess with your money that way. You can also mess with your image that way too, you know, because people in the industry know each other, so people talk. But so, yeah, that's great advice to give to guys that are up and coming and that are trying to grow inside and outside of their market.
Definitely.
So what you didn't tell us is, where can everybody find your remix on Friday? Where can everybody find you on social? You spoke about TikTok. I want to know where I can find you on there, and all that good stuff.
So all social media is at Angelo the Kid, Kid with 2 I's. And SoundCloud, if you go to my Instagram, you'll be able to find my SoundCloud through my my link tree. And that's the remix is going to be on SoundCloud this Friday. It is a remix of Stay, just Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber. It's a Melbourne bounce 75 BPM track. It's
energy,
really dope. Energy, a lot of energy. So it's dope. Everyone's gonna love it. So,
and looking forward to it.
Yeah. Thanks for jumping on, man. Love you. Proud of you.
Love you guys too. Thank you.
All right. We'll be back with our next guest shortly. All right. We are back with our third and final guest of our episode 50, quote unquote episode 51.
Quotation marks.
Our fellow Paisan, Mr. Dario Valli, what's up, brother?
How you doing?
If you guys don't know Dario, he is a character. He is so fun to be around and hang out with. So,
Appreciate it.
Link up with Dario if you don't know who he is, because he's the man.
Yeah, follow me on TikTok, kids. That's what the kids still use, right? There's not a new thing now.
All right,
not yet that we know of Dario.
Not yet. Everything will change in like a year, like it always does.
It's gonna be like holograms.
By the time this comes out tomorrow, something will be huge.
Yeah, exactly. Then we'll be behind that as well, so it's fine.
So where we've kind of started with ToneSetta and Angelo was kind of like, how you got involved with Get Down. And for once, I actually remember how you've gotten involved in Get Down, which is rare.
Wow,
but
I don't remember this.
Why don't you tell the audience like how you started working with us and what was attractive for you?
Yeah, I mean, from what I remember, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, we started because we were both playing Tally Ho. This was like way beginning. This was 3 years, maybe 4 years back, which is insane to think about. I just hopped on a set. I got a call. I guess one of the managers just liked what I was doing. I hopped on, and I knew what you were doing with Tally at the time, and I just I learned the politics a little early on, so I was like, at the time I don't think we were really we were more so acquaintances, I would say. And then I just reached out to you. I was like, hey, this is kind of the deal. What's going on? Am I stepping on toes? And then that's where the conversation came out. And I think we just started hanging out. I'll just come out and see you, get to know everyone a little bit, which is crazy. It's hilarious to think about because I've known everyone so long. Like the idea of not knowing everyone is very odd to me. So I'm like, when the hell did I not know Gary and Ant and freaking Greg and Doug and Tone? Because that was you want to talk about beginning? Yeah, that was the squad.
Yeah,
that's the OG squad. Never forget.
One of my earliest memories because I didn't know you. I knew your Instagram or your social media before I knew you. Mm-hmm. Because you were running the Morristown circuit at the same time that I was.
Oh boy! Wait,
and you were there often across town on nights that I was playing on the other side of town.
Wait, was that SM23?
That was SM23. Cream and I were across town at Sona 13 at the time and Dramos, and you were across town over at SM23.
Oh my God!
And we were like, this Dario kid, he's playing, we hear that he's playing really good house music across town. I'm like, man, I really wish I could play a room that just played.
This is the first I'm hearing of this.
And then I think I don't know, got in contact with you or you got in contact with us in some way or another. Cream, correct me if I'm wrong in this. Well, this is how I remember just even knowing about Dario. And then we were like, I think you reached out a couple of times and we were just trying to get you in the mix. And that's kind of where it gets gray for me.
Here's where you became part of the squad. So you were friends and worked with one of the other DJs at Tally Ho.
Yeah.
And we had a Get Down meetup. I think maybe the second one.
Oh God, was that the one
at 626? And you and Arson played back to back. And I was in the room hanging out, drinking. I'm like, who the fuck is DJing? This is fire right now. And from that moment on, I was like, okay, I've now heard Dario play, and I'm good. Let's use him. Let's hang out. Let's get him in the mix.
I was such a wiener. I was such a wiener because when I signed up for that, I was telling Greg because Greg and I just became friends. Actually, I think I was friends with Greg before anyone really. Obviously, we were more so acquaintances. We were kind of building that. And shout out to Greg, DJ UFOso, handsome man, great person. And I was like, God bless his patience. I was like, Greg, what's going on? I don't see my name on there. I gotta play, man. Let me play. And he's like, oh no, I got you. I think I hopped on for I thought I was gonna play for 15 minutes, and Arson and I both had a little time slot. We're looking at each other back to back, done, let's go. And that's when we just kind of,
yeah, your persistence definitely paid off because you know, you were checking in, but you weren't annoying, and you were popping in and saying what's up, and you were around, but like we didn't, you know, I'm not going to put someone on I've never heard DJ like that. I say that every time. Like
exactly. Well, and
it could be for 3 songs. I'll hear you transition 3 songs. I'm like, oh, we're good. All right, cool.
Yeah, and that's you know, sometimes the audacity. I mean, it's crazy how people approach that. Even through like an Instagram DM, I see it, not from personally, but you know, I mean, people are just like, do you know this guy? I'm like, oh God, like why? Yeah. But like, I mean, I respect the hustle, but like, there's a way about doing it, and like, I don't know, like I was getting my work. You know, I was working, you know, I was the resident sushi lounge and SM23 at the time, like Gary said. And, you know, I always pride myself on working with good people. And that's really about it. Like, I mean, the opportunity could be good and that's great and all, but like, if it's not like, if I don't like the people, I'm not going to do it respectively. And that's kind of, you know, where it worked out, you know.
Yeah.
You guys needed someone. I was like, oh yeah, like, you know, we're friends at this point. Let's get it going.
I think something that really stands out for me with your growth and like where you started and where you've kind of gotten to is everyone knew you were a dope house DJ, and like, you know, your house music, you love house music. You played a lot of house music venues, what is it? SM23. Sushi Lounge is like one of the longest standing Wednesday night parties that I know. Yep. It's been around since I was 21, which is a long time. And I think what you've shown me and you've shown everybody in this market is that you can play open format. You can play open format really well.
Appreciate that.
And I think it surprised a lot of people when they hear you play an open format. So like, holy shit, Dario can play hip hop. This is dope. Like,
yeah. Well, and that's what I did at SM23, because at first I was playing only house music, and I quickly saw, I was like, all right, this venue is like, has like 7 people in it. I need to change something up here, because, you know, I was hearing one thing from the person who was booking me of, you know, play house music. But when I went the other direction, I was, you know, throwing in Latin, I was throwing in hip hop, I was throwing in pop, you know, I was mixing it up. And that's really where I learned my open format game and really how to read a crowd. Cause I'm like, if I could make a room of 5 or 7 people rock the entire night, and I could keep them there, even though it's dead as hell, but they want to actually be there and spend money, you know, and that then I could pretty much, I can go anywhere, because that's I think that's the real test is, I mean, anyone could rock a full room, I feel, for the most part, depending on the location. Like depending on, like, if it's Hoboken though, like Hoboken's a different animal. You gotta, because you can clear a room very quickly. But if the room's already dead, it's really hard, because I mean, everyone's looking, they're like, yeah, I'm not gonna stay here. So that's really why I had to make that transition to open format really early on, because I was like, the place is gonna make no money, then I'm not gonna work, because I'm not offering any value at that point.
Yeah, completely out of necessity. And we tell younger guys on the come up, and we've talked about this a little bit earlier, but you know, just like as we were talking about with Angelo Cream, how private events are so important to become a well-rounded DJ. I feel like playing those, a lot of guys on the come up don't want to be a private event DJ. So they do start off in some empty rooms, right? And those empty rooms really teach you how to grind out a set and how
absolute foundation.
Right. You know, you have to build a crowd from nothing, which is so difficult.
And also finding older records that you may not know that well that work, you know, like,
I mean, it's right. It's a lot of getting to know, get to know your room, get to know your crowd. And it's really a huge part of a huge positive in having a resident DJ at a place like that, where you can get to learn the place.
Yeah. I definitely earned a lot of my stripes early on from that. And that's kind of what I brought into when I came into Hoboken after that. Cause I was like, you know, I was comfortable if a room was dead, I was comfortable walking in. I'm like, all right, I can still build something out of this. And that I think is so, especially if you're a younger DJ getting into this, like you gotta experience that, because it's not going to prepare you properly later on. If for some reason you're at, like, you know, one of the biggest spots in Jersey, and it just so happens to be an off night, but you're still playing there, and you still have to do your job and work the room and try to milk as much as you can, because then the staff isn't making money, and then that's
right. And you want to make an impression on whoever booked you and the promoters and whoever else is in the room, even on a slow night, to get another booking.
Absolutely.
I think what's been cool too is like, you know what you want to do and where you want to be in the rooms you want to play in. And you used open format to grow your brand and your business. And now you're getting booked to, open rooms or be a support act for some of the house music guys that you want to work with, and like some of the rooms that you want to play, and you're making music. And like, I think it's cool to see that like you saw that you had to go open format to get to where you want to go. And I think that's hard for some people to figure out, but you figured that out. And I think that was super vital to your success.
I agree. Cause it got you in doors more quickly.
Like who are some of the acts that you're opening for right now?
I opened for Carnage 4th of July. That was probably the biggest artist I opened for. I done a few Atlantic City gigs, got a few of those under the belt, and that's a whole nother animal. You want to talk about? I mean, you have to go in a completely different mentality to go into Atlantic City or any type of major bottle service club if you're opening. It's a complete opening is one of the hardest, if not the hardest thing you can do as a DJ, because you have to understand it's not about you, and that's the biggest thing at that point. You're extremely vital, but in the same regard, you're not important at all, if that makes sense. It's a strong balance.
That's the best way to describe it, actually.
I mean, well, that's why I earned early on. I mean, I think I'm gonna shout out to Jason Weiss. He taught me that really early. That was probably my first Atlantic City booking was with him. I opened for him.
Shout out to Jason Weiss, Philly.
Yeah, Double Down Entertainment. He's running stuff. He's doing his thing. He's got a good head on his shoulders. On a great team, but that definitely really earned some stripes early on too, because you really had to understand that people were coming in, they were just starting with their bottles and stuff, and you don't want them on the dance floor, if that makes sense, but you also want them to. It's quite a balance. I could go on about that all day, because opening an AC is an art in itself. But yeah, it's been good. I've been doing some radio stuff. I was on Sirius XM. That was fun. And just, I think even before, when I was in Pasha, before I was in like SM23, I was playing in like Webster Hall and Pasha. I kind of was working that route of like the clubs, and then, old school stuff. It just kind of went to the wayside. It didn't work out at one point. Pasha was closing when I just started to get in. So, but then, then now we're just moving and grooving. We're riding the wave right now.
It's great to see your growth too, because just like Angelo, you were playing some of the lower end places that we worked with just to kind of earn your stripes with Get Down a little bit. And that's always how we work, like we're not going to bring you in and give you the top spots. You're going to play some of the lower end spots first.
It makes zero sense. It's like what do you offer to the table for you to even assume that? And I think that's what everyone needs to understand coming into this. I mean, everyone's starting level 0, and that's regardless of your fan base or anything like that, because you could have a great fan base and you're just absolute garbage. And it's been brought up time and time again, so it's just of why that is not, always the most appropriate thing. So I always build my foundation on my ability and just being a good person. That was my 1-2.
I think what I got out of this conversation that I didn't really realize before is not only I knew that you're versatile from going from like open format to house music, but I think the highlight here for me is how versatile you are within house music. You can open a room, right? You can headline, you can headline a room. You've headlined, right? A few different
places,
headlined a
headliner
for sure. And then you've done smaller venues where you're playing house music all night long. And all of these gigs require different types of house music, right?
Thank you.
I don't think that
everybody noticed that.
I don't think that anybody really realizes how vast we all talk house music, right? But
Yeah.
just how vast that is, like how many different styles there are,
Yep.
and how you need to attack each one of these gigs that you spoke of in a completely different way. So it really, I think being a versatile house DJ is just as impressive as being a versatile open format DJ. So
it's extremely pivotal, especially when you're opening for a house act, because if your house acts, I mean, how do I properly put it? Depending on the subgenre of house music that they are known for, and if you're not studying exactly where they're going with everything, because some can go a little more deep, some can go more minimal, some can go more tech, and depending on which subgenre they go within house music, because it's not just strict, I'm going to play some light house music and then go from there.
right.
It really is a difference maker in how you're going to set them up and whether or not you're going to ever play again for them, because that's how critical it is. And that's even when I'm playing my house sets during the night, I mean, I'm fluctuating through the subgenres of it, just because to me, that's almost like storytelling in itself. It's not just like, just bangers the entire time. There's a time and place for that. But, to me, it's like one stroke of like a paintbrush type of thing.
We're gonna have to have an episode, house music theory, with Dario Valli.
I could go on for days, and then when I get into my techno talk, then it's like
I think that's a great point though, and it's not just in house music, because like I played with Ammo last week, right? It was me and then Ammo to finish out the night, and like I kind of based my set around what Ammo was going to play, like I know what he was going to play, so I played other stuff so that it was better for the room. I'm not going to play the same music that I know Ammo's going to play. I'm going to play other songs that have energy, and it's still peak hour and rock a room, but not step on that person's toes. So like, even if you don't know the DJ or it's a big name or act or artist, like you got to go listen to their mixes, right? And go look at their track list from their last 5 shows and see what
not enough people do their homework, man.
So you don't step on their toes, and it's better for the night too, because maybe you could play EDM because they're going to play tech house all night or whatever it is,
Exactly. And depending on your time slot, obviously, if you're the first one up, you're not going to be playing calling right in the beginning. Although I've heard that, and I simply don't agree with that ever.
Understanding how to do this can keep your career going so much longer than the people that don't understand how to do this. Yeah. So it's so important.
Oh yeah. And it's taking your ego out is the biggest, I think, contributor. I mean, that's the case for me. Like still right now, I'm like, who the hell am I? I mean, I'm just some guy getting in the booth playing. And I always play with a chip on my shoulder. I've been doing that, and I probably will always do that type of thing. But and that's huge, because you can't come in once you start thinking who the heck you are. That's when you're really starting to lose.
Yeah, man, I agree. All right, bro, we're gonna wrap. Anything you have coming down the pipeline? New music? Any big shows coming up? What do you got going on?
Yeah. I mean, we got the birthday week coming up. We got
birthday week coming up.
We got a fun lineup of stuff, of gigs. So follow me at Dario_Valli on Instagram.
Maybe a birthday show announcement. We'll see. We were talking about before this.
We'll see, depending on if my mother and sister were not happy with that proposal.
Dario's family is like super Italian and like super strict, like how mine was when I was growing up, and like they're like getting mad at him because he wants to go play a big show on his actual birthday instead of spending like Sunday family day together doing like Sunday dinner.
I understand their point completely, but like in the same regard, I'm like, I just want to play music.
Don't have your birthday on a Sunday. That's what you get.
Bro, what do you mean?
On a Sunday in an Italian family.
Whoever made calendars, you're an asshole. So I don't even know I can curse on you, but here we are. Other than that, I got some new music, got some originals coming out, some remixes in the pipeline.
Yeah, I've heard some of them.
Oh yeah?
Ferrari's played me some of your stuff, which is exciting. Sounded real good. So
yeah. The first original coming out. I'll give the title. It's called Into the Groove, and that's I'm very excited for that one. That's a heater.
I love it, man. All the Get Down guys making original music makes me really happy.
It's all right. I'll send the instrumentals out to the Get Down group first, so that way they can have fun with that, because I know they will. Yeah.
All right, man. Dario, super proud of you. Love you.
Love you guys.
Brother.
Thank you so much
Thanks
for
for
having
jumping
me.
on with us.
Oh, come on now. Had to be done. Have a
All
good
right,
one,
guys.
boys.
Later,
All right,
brother.
guys.
All right, I think we're just gonna keep rolling with this.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Listen,
man. This was cool.
It's like we said in the beginning, we don't really remember where everybody started, you know. It's really nice to see how everybody has grown, and especially the three people that we've had on here today. I don't know. It's not something that you and I set out for. We've said this before, and I'll say it again. But, you know, as an ex-teacher and as somebody who comes from putting so much passion into teaching people, showing people the way, like this is so, it's just an extension of that, and it's so gratifying. And I know you feel the same way coming from, obviously, you know, your family's background.
Yeah. I mean, I was never a teacher, but I was a coach, like a basketball coach. And
Right, but you come from a family of teachers.
Both my parents are teachers. So
like it's kind of like it's the path. It's continuing that path. And you're just doing it in a different way, you know.
It's funny. My dad would be proud that this is the route that we've ended up taking here, because he kind of saw my DJ career going a little bit, but it was more like DJ Cream stuff and not,
right,
you know, Get Down really. So I think it's cool. It's super gratifying. Like you said, you're right. At this point of my career, I would rather see our guys succeed and take, like, I'll give my gigs to the guy. Like, I don't care, you know, like,
yeah,
it's more gratifying for me to see guys play in Atlantic City or guys play big gigs down the shore. And if I can help in any way of making that happen, like, that makes me happier than like booking anything that I do.
It's a conversation that we had like 3 or 4 days ago, and you know, we were talking about something, and I was like, you know, I'm at a point in my career that, like, I don't ever have to play a big room ever again.
Yeah.
And I'd be super happy with it. And that's fine, because that's not, you know, what it's about for me at this point. Right. And it's the same thing. You know, I'd much rather see the Angelo, the Kids, and the Dario Vallis of the world, you know, come on up and make a big splash in our market, and then also the surrounding markets. It's just, it's a beautiful thing. I'm really happy that, you know, we've built what we've built, and
yeah,
it's only going to get bigger and better.
Yeah. And we have a whole new crop of younger DJs that are working with us that are like showing so much too. So it's
scary.
It's super cool. Yeah.
Scary, because there's a lot of talent.
These guys are going to go. They're going to go.
And then there's, like you said, there's so much talent in the pipeline.
Yeah.
You know, that I think that we weren't even privy to until recently. And I think that's going to be a continual theme that we'll see over the years, where there'll just be new crops of talent.
You heard a lot of the repeat things that ToneSetta, Angelo, and Dario all said, you know, like, there's certain things that just help make you successful, and they have those things. So, like all of our guys do. And that's a reason why they work with us, kind of thing, you know, like, it's their outlook and how they treat people and being a good person and just being a good dude. Like, there's certain things that you can't teach. Like, I can't teach you how to do that, you know?
I think it's so funny how 2 of the 3 of them cited Tally Ho Thursdays as, like, you know, a hangout. I know I said it before, but, you know, it's just, I chuckled a little bit again when Dario brought it up.
Yeah, because it's like, it's nightlife, but in a bar, essentially. And like, the DJ booth is so accessible, you know? It's not like you're up in some booth and you can't talk to anybody. Like, the crowd is on top of you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a perfect place for networking, honestly, because there's always somebody in the room. So yeah, it's just one of those places.
Every week there's like 10 plus DJs in the room at this point now, especially after pandemic. It's pretty cool.
Crazy. But yeah, I think it was great to talk to those guys, a little recap, a little reminder of where they came from, and a little shout out to where they're going, and let our audience know, like, you know, who they are, where they're going to be, and what's going on in their careers.
Yeah. If you don't follow ToneSetta, Angelo the Kid, and Dario Valli, please do. Check them out. Check out their music. They all post a lot of content. They're all doing different things. So yeah,
all their sounds are completely different, honestly. just a testament to the range of our guys. And go check out all their material. It's great. Hell
yeah. We'll put all their links for all the socials and stuff in our show notes. Yep. This was a cool episode. I think we hope to do more stuff like this with some of our other guys. So you can kind of, as the audience, get an idea of who else works with us and what they're working on and what they're doing. It's a way for us to show off a little too, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that everybody knows there is no sound of Get Down, right? That we don't have like a one cohesive sound, but you'll get to hear a little bit of everything and the versatility within. So,
all right, cool. Stuff. Thank you guys for listening to this episode. What is this? 51? 51.
Episode 51.
All right, guys. We'll check you next week. My name's Kareem.
Gary W.
Peace.
Peace out, guys.